Okay, let me explain about chapter 25, verse 45. Surah Al-Ankabut, verse 45. So, verse ni talk about the purpose of Salat. The purpose, the Salat is, there is the first part and the second part. The proclamation part, when you proclaim to God, you make promise to God. And then the practical aspect, when you put into practice in your day-to-day life. And then only it's complete lah. You must have part 1 and part 2. If not, the solat is not complete. So the purpose of solat is, number 1, to eradicate fahisha. That means to stop you from
doing all the indecency.
all the indecency or obscene action, obscene things, obscene deeds. The other one is munkar. Munkar is you disguise. That means it's always in hypocrisy. These are the two things that it will stop you from accomplishing. Salat can stop you from doing that. And then the other thing is Allah in that verse Allah also said that if you perform salat, you will have full remembrance in abundance. You remember Allah in abundance. So that's at the end of it. And then before the first verse of that verse, the first part of that verse is Allah talk about recite what has been revealed to you by your Lord, and then only you establish salah. So that means if you want to establish salah, you only recite what has been revealed to you by your Lord. Okay, that means the truth, whatever the truth that has been revealed to you, that is the one that you can recite in the salat. You cannot say any other thing.
And submit.
And then submit to what you have recited, and then you can act based on what has been revealed to you by your Lord. Okay, that's verse 29-45. And then we go into another verse. What is that verse?
Al-Anfal.
So Al-Anfal is chapter number
20 something.
8. Verse number 34. 34 and 35. Actually 2 verses that we talk about in Surah Al-Anfal. 2 verses. Before 34 is actually talking about the Masjid al-Haram, the house and the Masjid al-Haram. 34. But 35 talk about, you can refer if you want to. You can refer. It's okay. It's not to test you whether you remember or not. We want to know whether you understand that verse. So verse 35 talk about,
and the prayer before the house is nothing but whistling and clapping of hands.
so that means Allah said if you don't be careful, if you're not careful, your salat will be whistling and clapping.
Kalau kita punya prayer tak betul lah.
Tak betul lah. Kalau your prayer do not follow what Allah has prescribed,
Then apa jadi?
so Allah said it's useless. Your prayer is useless. It's just like clapping and whistling. So when Allah said your prayer is like clapping and whistling, that means your prayer is useless. The one that is prescribed tadi tu is you recite what has been revealed to you by your Lord, and then you must put into practice in your day-to-day. Then it will stop you from fahisha and munkar. Then only the salat is sempurna. Okay, so that's about what we have gone through in the first 2 sessions. So today we add a little bit to the subject. Let's look at verse Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse 44 and 45. 44 and 45. Who wants to go first?
Jadi
Okay, let the young person go first.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Atamurunanna bil birri wa tansawna anfusakum wa antum tatlunal kitab. Afala ta'qilun. What do you enjoin men to be good and neglect your own souls while you read the book? Have you then no sense? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wasta'inu
Wasta'inu.
bis-sabri was-salah wa innaha lakabiratun illa lal khashiyin. And seek assistance through patience and prayer, and most surely is a hard thing except for the humble ones.
Okay, in verse 45, Allah said, when if you have any problem in life, you have to seek assistance through patience and prayer. Okay, through patience and prayer.
Only lah, tak payah macam sim.
The first part of the prayer is quite straightforward. That one, even that one also is difficult to do for many of the people. The first part, the proclamation part, even that one also difficult. But it's supposed to be easier, that part. But the second part is difficult. The second part, when you want to put into practice what you have proclaimed earlier, so you want to put into practice, that one is difficult, especially when, so there are many things that you have to go through in life, that for you to implement the second part is the most difficult. So that's where you need patience. You need patience. You if you feel, for example, if you aware that, if you're not aware, then it's very difficult because you're not aware. But if you are aware, when the time comes, you are aware that you are doing something not right, then you have to be patient. You have to, try to go back to the truth. Do not try to modify the story. It's a bit difficult, but you have to be patient. You stop and be patient. Slowly, you have to come back. The facts, go back to the facts. That's why Allah said you need patience to go through. And then the last part of the verse is hard to do, and most surely it is a hard thing to do, except for the humble one. So that means if you are a person, your personality, if you are a humble person, it's very easy. Very easy for you to implement what you proclaim. What you proclaim to God, you implement it. You can do it very easily if you are humble. Because here it said, verse 45, seek assistance through patience and prayer, and most surely it is a hard thing. Most surely it's a hard thing, except for the humble ones. So you will know if you cannot do that, if you cannot fix to what Allah command to what He asks you to do, cannot follow, then you're not one of the humble one. Because if you are humble one, if you are a humble person, it's very easy for you to follow, right? And then before that, the 44. What do you enjoin men to be good and neglect your own souls while you read the book? Evident no sense. So now we are talking about people who are reading the books, but they still neglect their soul. Neglect their soul, that means when come to day-to-day life, they still keep on doing the same mistake. Well, even though they read the book, because in the salat they read the book. In the prayer they read. But when come to practical, they still do it. That's the one that you have to be careful. So Allah said, have you then no sense? Afala ta'qilun? You tak ada akal ke? Allah kata. Allah kata tak ada akal ke? You dah baca buku, dah tahu, lepas tu still continue doing the wrong thing. Now, the other thing that I want to discuss a little bit more is, do you know what is conscious mind and what is subconscious mind? Conscious is,
Dia tahu apa yang going around dia.
okay, you are conscious of what is going on around you, right? Unconscious,
Opposite lah.
opposite lah. You don't know what is going on. So for example, assuming you already reach 18 years old, so you can go for you can apply for driving license. Okay, so now you're going to apply driving license. Before you go for your driving test, you have to go to the driving school. You have to learn how to drive, right? Before you go for the test.
Ada school for driving.
Yelah, kalau nak learn how to drive, kena go to driving school.
Driving school.
Kau yang macam kadang kena rakit.
Okay, so when you get into the car, this is in the beginning. In the beginning, when you want to start learning how to drive, when you get into the car, you become very conscious. Right? You become very conscious. Where is the gear? Where is the brake? Where is the meter? Where is the signal light? Right? Very conscious. Look at the mirror. Okay. That is your conscious mind is working. Very conscious. That means you become very aware what's going on. And then after 3 years driving, you are not conscious of the meter, you're not conscious of the wiper, you're not conscious of the gear, brake, you're not conscious anymore. How do you drive when you're not conscious? You're using your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is working. So the conscious mind is sleeping. Conscious mind is not working. The subconscious mind is working. So most of the time, the subconscious mind, when it is not working, you are not conscious lah, because the conscious mind is not working. So the subconscious mind work like a machine. It works on its own now, like a machine. So you drive until kalau ada something happen. For example, suddenly there's a sound, then only you become conscious. Hey, what happened to the meter? Then only you become conscious. Then the conscious mind back to work, and then you see, there's nothing. That one just like. Then the subconscious mind go back to sleep. Right? So that's how life is. So now, in our salat, when you do the proclamation, when you read the verses, in the beginning, when most of the people, I don't know about you, but many people, in the beginning, when they pray, they are very conscious. How to stand straight, how to say Allahu Akbar beautifully, how to recite Fatiha, and then try to understand the meaning behind. But when you already do it like few years, then it become automatic really. It become mechanical.
Yeah, it's just like
Dia main buat, kita just buat je.
Somehow the body knows how to perform without you aware.
Kita buat apa.
Suddenly, dah habis dah. Finish already. Then sometimes when you want to be aware, then you realize, aku ni rekat berapa? You're trying to be aware. Or else the body do it without awareness. So when you do ibadah without awareness, that means you do ibadah like a robot. Like a robot. Unconscious.
Kita just buat je, cuma kita brain dah fikir benda lain, tapi kita just buat je the prayer.
So there is no khusyuk. If you do your ibadah, salat, using your subconscious mind, there's no khusyuk because everything become like a robot, like a machine.
Khusyuk tu means kita actually like
Concentrate or basically
tak,
aware.
khusyuk tu is aware. Khusyuk
Aware
tu-
lah. You become aware of what you're doing. You must be aware of what you're doing. Kalau for example you want to submit to God, you rukuk. So when you rukuk, you must be aware that you are submitting to God. Right? You must be aware that you're doing a total submission. You must be aware that you are reciting Fatihah. Okay? So what I'm saying now, if you do your salat without awareness, without consciousness, then it becomes mechanical. If it is a mechanical, that means it's a machine that's doing.
Macam bukan actually kita lah.
It's not the self. It is the body machine. So how do we overcome this? How do we overcome
by not
that?
thinking anything.
By what?
Not thinking.
Baik kita actually kena khusyukkan diri.
That means we have to be aware lah. We have to be conscious. But the problem is because the routine, the routine or the ritual is mechanical, and you have been doing it for years, day in day out the same thing.
So kita dah macam dah tahu dah.
The point is you cannot prolong, you cannot do ibadah like that. You must do ibadah with full awareness.
Nanti tante
Macam buat apa nak buat apa solat ke macam tu.
So many people today do solat, they do not know how to khusyuk. They don't know. Some people say, oh, you nak khusyuk, you kena tengok ada tempat sujud. So concentrate tempat sujud. Some people say, you want khusyuk, you have to close your eyes. But still you cannot get khusyuk. But this way, the one that we want to approach, that one is the real thing. You can get khusyuk in your prayer. How to get khusyuk is, when, let me give an example. When we read a book, we want to understand what we read. Then you get khusyuk. You get so engrossed. For example, if the story is good, the storyline is good, so you go engrossed in your reading. Even you sometimes can forget the time flies, 3 hours like that. But in order to get that state of mind, you have to get something new though every time. When you read, you get something new.
Yeah, oh, that's what
Right?
happened.
You must get something fresh, something new, something excite your mind. If you read the same thing, for example, if you read what book you read today? What book you read?
Percy Jackson.
What Jackson?
Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
If you read that book 20 times, you also get bored. You still get bored because there's nothing new. Right?
Same story goes on.
There's nothing new. You know the second page, the third page, the second chapter. So now you want to read. When you read the Quran, you read the book, you must get something fresh, something new. Then only it will excite you, and then you will not let your subconscious mind to be taking over your mind, so that your conscious mind will take over. So that's the beauty about the Quran. The Quran, the meaning of the verse is borderless. So that means you can go deeper and wider and deeper and wider. There's always something new. If you ponder on the verse, there's always something new. For me, 10 years ago when I read the verse, I understand differently. Then 5 years ago, I understand differently. 3 years ago, differently. Now I understand differently. Maybe later, another 2 years, I understand differently. Getting deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's always something fresh, something new. So that is the key to husyuk. The key to husyuk. So the way to do is to understand the facts. The facts, not understand what other people say, but you just understand the facts, and then from the facts, the Quran will suggest its meaning. Though it will suggest more meaning, and then the mind that you have to set your mind. The mind must be free from ego, free from egoistic mind. Okay.
Okay.
So
I will understand.
the way to do is basically what we say is we look at the facts, and to look at the facts, if you look at the sun and the moon and the sun and the earth, the sun is giving the sunlight. So there are certain part of earth that is facing the sun, and when the part that facing the sun, that part gets the light. There's another part of the earth that turn away from the sun,
which is America.
that part is in darkness because it doesn't get light. Even though this part doesn't get light, but the sun is still there. Right? The sun doesn't go away. But how come that part doesn't get light? Because that part actually turn away, turn the other side, facing the other side. So the same thing for us. The same thing for us. Allah, the fact and the truth, we say Allah revealed the truth. Okay? Allah revealed the facts. But actually, the facts is already here, already all outwardly and inwardly. Outward and also inward. It's already there. But it is not seen. Why it is not seen? Because our mind turn away from the light. Right? We turn away. That means we do not want to ponder the Quran. We are so engrossed. We are so occupied with our petty work. For example, those people involved in politics. Day in, day out, wake up in the morning and dia fikir politics. How to solve this problem, how to solve that problem.
Lepas tu before tidur pun dia fikir juga.
Before tidur, mimpi that also. So where got time to turn into Quran, because your mind is so occupied, always turn away, right? Turn away when you occupy your mind with other things. For example, there are people who are so fascinated with racing cars. Oh, so fascinated with racing cars. He even knows, or maybe so fascinated with English football. You even know who are the strikers, who are the defenders, all the names, how to play.
Players pun tahu.
Semua tahu the style of play, everything they know. So the mind is occupied, and when it is occupied, the mind is turned away from the light. This is the so what we're saying is your job is to turn back. You can rest your mind by occupying it. For example, you want to play piano. That's okay, because your mind also need rest.
Tak boleh fikir pasal ni.
Tak nak fikir pasal ni, because you have to live also. You have to study. You have to you have your own life, your baju. So those are the things. But the point is, you cannot neglect the Quran. So your job, you're still at young age. When you're still at young age, your mind is still not occupied with something very appealing. So for example, some people, they are very occupied with fashion. So they become so occupied.
Tapi kita tak tahu lagi yang kita nak buat apa.
So you have to be careful and that because when you grow up, you be influenced to occupy your mind on petty things. You can do it, but not get overwhelmed with it.
Not a lot lah.
Okay. So when you turn to Quran, that means your mind now become a religious mind, no egoistic, no passion. So your heart is not attached with other things. Your heart only attached to Quran. Okay, then only you can get the truth from the Quran. Then only your salat will be exciting.
Will be accepted.
Will be excited. Exciting. I mean, khusyuk tadi lah. Nak apa dengan khusyuk tadi tu. Then only your day-to-day life will be at peace. Because there will be less conflict. If you your mind tadi, you got a lot of conflicts. Tapi you Quran tadi, tak ada conflict. Okay. So itu saja yang kita ada pada malam ni. Is there anything you want to ask?
No.
Kalau ikut Abush, dia kena sadaqallah.
Habis kamdan kan dalam